Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So hello dear friends, welcome back to NPTEL online course on logistics and supply chain management. So in the last session we started discussion on your trends in logistics industry, right? So in this session we will continue this discussion, and we discussed about some of the stakeholders in modern logistics, right? And some modern logistics concept we discussed about. So in this session we will find out what are the factors which are forcing us to to go for updating your logistics, not only one time every day. We'll find out what are the trends, and when we'll find out the challenges for modern logistics, right? And we'll talk about some performance measures as well, and we'll end this discussion with the 2 or 3 small cases, right? So these are the factors. We'll go through these factors one by one, right? So first is your supply chain agility. See, now we are operating in that environment which is very dynamic, very fragile, right? Every moment it is changing. So if we will stick with your old school of thought and we'll say that this is a legacy we are carrying, so that will not work, right, anymore. So how constantly you are coming up with the technological advancements, and in that way how quickly your supply chains, your distribution networks are updating, will define your agility, right? So this is required, because if you will not change your approach, your competitor will change. So obviously when your competitor will change, they will be providing the same services at lesser cost. Problem is not with the services or the product for that moment. The product quality may not change, right? But how they are delivering the product, that experienced customer is getting extra, right? And then they are taking away the whole market share from you, because both are still providing the same product, but how they are adding experience into that. So that basket you need to take care. What are those positive points the customer is clicking in his mind space whenever he is evaluating any e-commerce website or even the local supply chain, right? So then if you are talking about agility, so this can be more ensured when you are having self-managed. See, this is something I'm talking about little in contradiction with what we discussed for outsourcing. Let's say if very simple example, if you just go through, you want to on Google, you just search, you want to install Tata Sky at your home, right? This is new installation, new connection. You just record how quickly they are responding, and then the another request is at the same time you put another request that your Tata Sky installed earlier not working properly, signal is not working properly. Then you see how much time they are taking to respond to your request, right? So when you are outsourcing this to, let's say, to third person, so now if the new request is coming, or you are complaining for the old connection, right? Because this is now outsourced to third person, he will just generate the token numbers. Who came first will be processed first, who came second will be processed second, third, fourth, like this, right? So that means that much attention is not given, which is required when you are onboarding the new client, right? So special care initially you need to give that. So another very good example, if you just in your WhatsApp you just connect with the Jio, right? And you just type one message, one line, that I want to import my connection from one other player to Jio. Within 20 minutes they will deliver you, they will come to your home and then will take within 2 minutes they will process every document, take your picture and then process the document, and then within 2 days it will be ensured that your thing is done, right. So if that platform, how responsiveness they are, how quickly they are doing that, right. But if you talk about GeoFiber, you are facing some issues, maybe because you are old customer, so that much immediate attention, because this is a part of strategy, right. So when new customer is coming, so that welcoming, we should give that welcoming note to that new client, right. So that he should feel that now he is connected to some really responsive player in that industry, right. So the another thing is global labor shortage, right. This is in the modern logistics industry, we are facing this issue of global labor shortage, right. So third party logistics, they are now if you talk about, we need, it's not that anyone can work on that, right. We need special skills to to ensure the proper packaging, proper handling of the products, right, in that particular industry, right. So if you are training people and then the other day they are leaving because of maybe any reason, there can be so many reasons, right. So that is another very big problem. So this factor is forcing us to go for automation, right. Let us remove the human intervention, but then if now we are going for human complete automation, but still some human intervention is required. So now the skills required are at different level to operate your automated warehouse, to operate your softwares, to keep the digital track of the transactions, digital track of the inventory. So everything, so that expertise now required, maybe very earlier you were working with 100 manpower, now maybe only 10 are required, right. So but companies are now moving with that perception in their mind that now we want to completely cut down this, because we will be more efficient, and that way we can avoid all those labor related problems. So they are coming with a driverless truck. Now initially what they are doing, they are connecting two trucks. First truck is manually operated, right. The second truck will mimic the first one, right. So second truck can track the pattern and accordingly will take the decision on the road, right. So another factor which is forcing is the complexity we are generating through automation. That is clear, because now we have different platforms for maintaining suppliers. We have one software which is dealing with the negotiation, with dealing with the quality of incoming, dealing with the quantity of incoming, assigning different vendors. One software is there. Then transportation handling, we have another software platform technology which is on the road or intermodal. It is deciding automatically, deciding the best route, deciding the best mode of transportation as per the requirement of the shipments, units, size, deciding the container size, everything, another software. In the manufacturing, within the manufacturing, we have another software to keep the track of the inventory, how it is moving on the production floor. In the warehouse, again, in the distribution center, we are again having another warehouse management software. So these many different platforms we are having, right. So can be, this is complex network now. So if I'm always going from one software to other package to other platform to third platform, fourth platform, so it will be very difficult to to get that last information which is decision driven. So how I can get that platform which can integrate all these different platforms, right, and then will give me one option, one alternatives, right, so that I can just click on that and will go with that, and that information should be passed to every player in the distribution network, right. So that quick information sharing will also be there, right. So it's not that on policy document you are preparing and then what you are communicating that may take some the vendor may take another way, right. So that information, same information, without any your manipulation in that information, right. So that should not any bullwhip effect should not be there, right. So another factor which is affecting the today's innovation in distribution logistic network is the what these players are saying 2-day delivery, same day delivery, within 30 minutes delivery, right? So how this is affecting the expectations from the customer, right? And then we can only do this if we are using those updated software which will help us to track where the product is right now and how long it will take and what are the alternatives. If that is not reaching on time, can be sourced from somewhere else. Any other vendor is ready with the final delivery. So those all things we can take care. So warehouse management system, kind of ERP platform also we are using sometimes, to create that visibility platform. We have some project like Project 44, 4 kites. These are kind of another platform which are helping us to keep the track of your every activity you are doing with the shipment, with the tracking of the return, then also information to the customer that your return is accepted, your refund is processed, today the refund will be credited. All those information should be shared. Supply chain transparency and collaboration mandate. Now this is now mandatory. So to every player, if you are part of that supply chain, you should be integrated through that network, right? And this we can do either by electronic data interchange, or we can have APIs, kind of application platforms, right? So programming interface where we can share this information without having any bullwhip effect, right? So if I am saying the order is required at the retailer end is for 10 units, so that should not be replicated as 15 units in the retail distributor, and that should not be go like 20 units for the wholesaler, 25 for the manufacturer and 35 for the raw material supplier. That should not happen. This is known as bullwhip effect. So throughout your supply chain, this information is, this is how it is inflated. So whatever information is there, 10 that should pass to the raw material supplier. That only can happen if you are having EDIs, APIs platform. So then less than truckload is another factor which is very important. I told you, if you are a very small player, right? You are just starting. So whatever your courier partner you are using, you are not able to utilize the full capacity of that container. The courier partner is providing you that container, right? So what you can do, you can consolidate the orders from other players in the same industry or maybe other industry, right? And when you will be doing that, obviously you will cut down the cost, because now you are paying only for the capacity you are using. This is the capacity you are using in that container, you will pay only for this capacity. So in that way you will be cost efficient. Maybe the rest of the capacity, this capacity will be shared by someone else. Maybe this capacity will be shared by someone else, right? So you can consolidate. So if you talk about e-commerce, so they can efficiently use this less than truckload if is there. Maybe in the cities or major cities, you are able to generate that much demand, so then you can exhaust the complete capacity. But if you are going for your urban area, rural areas, semi-urban area, so there may be the question of utilizing less capacity than available. So how you can use that? This approach is very useful for small business, because small businesses are not having that much demand. So they can collaborate with other players and then they can reduce the transportation cost. And then in that process you will be environmental conscious as well. How? Because now earlier you were only shipping this much quantity using that much big container. So that means per unit cost will be higher in that way, and then you are using extra fuel. You are not using the full capacity, using extra fuel. Per unit transportation is producing more carbon footprint. Instead of transporting 10 items, if I will transport 50 items in the same container, so per unit contribution of that to the carbon footprint you are generating will be lesser in that way, right? So this is another factor which is forcing us to go for the automation. Then persisting with the digital transformation is required. throughout your distribution network, right? So either you are talking about sharing your electronic records from the customer to the warehouse to the distribution network while you are recording the order, how you are completing that cycle, whatever steps are required. If it is not ready with the inventory, you will place order immediately with your manufacturing facility. So that information should be shared immediately with the raw material supplier, that this much raw material is required because new order has arrived. So then immediately it will be processed, will be packed, courier partner will be getting the alert that now we need to make the emergency delivery. So that kind of digital transformation is required. We have then API based integration, so that you can process the real time information. It's not that one batch you will process fully and will be shifted to the next stage. That should not happen. Even if you are producing one unit, that should be shared with the next stage, so batch processing kind of concept will not work. So even if you have produced one item, that should be distributed, right? This is the concept, right? So same should go with the when we are sharing the information. If any information you have generated, that should be shared throughout this network immediately using your API network, right? So then logistic demand forecasting. So when you are designing the demand function, right? So you need to do the predictive analytics, right? We talked about predictive analytics, how you can use the big data, right? So that you can plan your production, your storage, your inventories in that way. So designing demand, maybe what you will be looking for, some of the factors, maybe historical data you are looking for, seasonality, whether now the summer season is there is huge demand for coolers, water coolers, ACs, refrigerators. So that is seasonality, seasonal demand. Economy, even season is there, sometimes maybe the economic condition of that particular country or maybe region is not like that they can go for purchasing, right? So then market trends, pricing, competition, how other players are coming with. So you need to track. Earlier demand function, we were saying how much money I am having in my pocket. If you can track that, somewhere you can find out how much I will buy in the market, right? And then price of the complementary goods, and then price of the competitor. These many things we were tracking, right? But now it's not enough, right? If it is not only to provide the product to the customer, it is that information is being shared throughout your network to the raw material supplier as well. How much raw material he needs to produce, right? If you will keep on producing the raw material, unnecessarily you will keep on producing the production products, final products. So maybe then you will be keeping that in your inventory, or sometimes maybe you are coming with the seasonal offers, that season off, then you are selling those inventory at 50% lesser price, or sometimes it is going obsolete in the inventory itself, right? So that you can avoid using your designing this your demand function in that specific very precise way, right? Then digital freight marketplaces. Now we have these kind of platforms as well, right? Where earlier what we were doing, if you need any product, you are going to Amazon and you are buying it. So let's talk about, if you are talking about the transportation industry, if you need any transportation services, right now maybe you are shifting from Kharagpur to Calcutta, so you need to transport your household items to Calcutta, right? So what you will do, you will search online what are the those players who are providing you these packers and movers kind of services, and then you will get the quotations, and then you will process that. Maybe 4 or 5 days you will take it to just collect the information. Then one day those people will come, will do the whole packaging. In the evening they will load that, full day activity. Next day they will ship that. Next day maybe evening it will reach Kolkata. So Kolkata, then again people will come, will unload that, remove the packaging, will set again. So this is, and then maybe after one day that container will be free for utilizing for the next thing. And then again maybe that container, because of the union kind of things, restrictions, cannot load from the same point, maybe has to come back to the base location and then again go for that. So this is how we are not utilizing the capacity. Even if they are doing it illegally, So even then, how much their capacity they are utilizing. So just loading, unloading, transporting, where maybe only 6 or 7 hours are required, we are taking minimum 3 days. And then why that platform we like Ola or Uber they are doing. So anywhere taxi is available, you can just log in and within 2 minutes whosoever is nearby will take that. Why can't this happen in freight industry as well, right? So anyone near to that container can utilize that capacity. If unloading is taking time, maybe customer requires, maybe you need to unload after 2 days, that is their requirement, they are paying for it. So let us drop the container there only, we'll get the new container at the site location and we'll pick that container and we'll go for. Why manually unloading is required? Automatic container, we have seen many videos where it is within 2 minutes full container is unloaded, right? So these kind of systems we need to develop. Ecosystem only can we create when all stakeholders are involved, internal, external, disparate systems, right? You need to integrate all those players, only then this ecosystem can be created. It cannot be that only distributing partner is digitally strong and rest of the players they are avoiding to go for that initial investment in terms of money, in terms of training their manpower, in terms of installing new systems. So that will be unsuccessful activity, right? If you are going for digitalization, it should be digitalized throughout your distribution network. Only then you can, make the real-time decisions in a better way, and then you can reduce the cost drastically. This is for sure, because you will be utilizing the full capacity. Where the resources are lying idle in terms of capacity in the container, in terms of unutilized capacity in the warehouse, in terms of unutilized robot in the warehouse, in terms of unutilized shelves in the warehouse, in terms of you are taking long route in during transportation, right? In terms of assigning the order to particular vendor, because you picked a vendor which is taking more time because he is not near to your manufacturing facility, right? So these all ecosystem you need to create and integrate all the things. So talking about technological advancement in India, so obviously it's not that Indian market it is away from these variation dynamics of the environment. So because whole world is one market, so you have to ensure the digital transformation, and through the that how you can ensure the fleet management, proper capacity utilization, right? So that the overall vehicle performance you can increase and reduce the fuel consumption, because instead of taking 10 items you are taking 20, so per unit cost will be reduced. And even then driver behavior also you can record. Even if he is not, see now in the trucks itself the technology is coming, if driver is driving rashly or driving in a wrong way, which is which is having more wear and tear of the vehicle, which is consuming more fuel, right? And maybe accident rates are increasing the way the driver is behaving on the road, right? So that also you can record, right? So you just imagine how much potential is there in that industry. We can improve in that way, and the overall, it's not that we want to restrict the driver, but that their quality of life will also improve in that way. So when they have the technology related decision making while they are moving the inventories from one place to other place. Then last mile delivery, already Flipkart is doing in some of the areas using drones, right? Where they want to avoid the traffic's bottlenecks, right? So maybe in 1 kilometer area they can just fly the drones, and because it is thickly populated, so you need not to go for that, and then you can drop the packet using your drones. So crowd shipping model is also very famous these days. Not only Flipkart, but your other players are also doing that. eCart also doing that, and delivery is also doing that. Swiggy is doing that. There you are partnering with the local service providers and local courier partners, local restaurant, local courier partner, right? So that is last mile delivery. Sustainable practice, how we can go for electrical vehicles, bicycles, and then we can address the customer points also where customer wants to go maybe in a sustainable manner. Sustainable customer also, they want sustainable consumption of the product. So if you can this happen that on the package we are mentioning from raw material supplier to manufacturer, this much carbon footprint this packet created. From in manufacturing, this much carbon footprint. To distribute your product to your doorstep, this much carbon footprint is produced, right? So maybe customer will be more aware in that case, and then instead of doing multiple deliveries, they will be more responsible when they are placing the order, so that they can reduce the returns also, right? So that how we can ensure that. So Amazon is having that objective that they will electrify the vehicles 100% by 2030, right? So this is how they are addressing the sustainable practices. Warehouse automation, when DHL is very prominent player which is doing this, and in Delhi they are having this automation sortation center where they are handling 6,000 shipments per hour. But you just imagine the DHL main warehouse in US or where they are operating China. There they are handling, their record is they are handling more than 40,000 shipments per hour. But because that much demand should be there, and only then that much capacity will be generated. But this is again, they are initiating the process in the Indian market as well. But yes, once it will be implemented, commercialized fully, because Indian or Chinese market are like that, huge customer potential is there. Anything you will start selling, you will generate something out of that, right? So how quickly you can sort the product, pick the product and pack the product in the inventory and can be shipped to the customer, right? So here I have included some video links. You guys can just quickly go through these videos and then we'll continue our discussion on the topic. So you can see it's not quickly they are doing that, it is that we are getting that quality of services as well. We can ensure that nothing should happen to our inventory, to our stock while we are handling those products, right? Then predictive analytics, demand forecasting, how accurately we can predict that. So those many services, delivery is doing very good in that area using their predictive analytics, big data analytics, cloud computing they are using. They are tracking the patterns in the market, your forward supply chain patterns as well as your backward supply chain pattern, which is starting from your raw material suppliers to your manufacturing house, and forward supply chain which is starting from your manufacturing to your end customer, right? So they are using predictive analytics to optimize the delivery routes, and so that they should cover the minimum distance, they should avoid the traffic jam in the populated area, urban cities, and then it will be cost effective as well. So they are providing services to many players, right? Then collaboration and integration, this is another advancement. Now see, for all these functional area, we are getting the expertise services. It is not that collaboration and integration within house we can generate something and we can collaborate with them. So because we have done every effort to ensure the collaboration, but still it is not happening. Can someone else do for us? Yes, a digital freight platform will help you to do that, and where all the shippers and truckers can be connected through platform. That platform I was talking about, can we have that platform where I want one container of 10 ton capacity and I can just search on app, and anyone who is near to me, we can quickly use that, right? So in that way, maximum. That's why many taxi drivers are attached to Ola, Uber. Only thing is the number of rides have increased, right, for them. When see, if earlier they were making only 10 rides, now they are making 100 rides, right? Maybe they are charging little lesser because this Ola and Uber also taking their share, maybe 25% or something like that, right? But still it is win-win situation for both, because that much traffic, footfall is there, right? So it is kind of economies of scale, right? So that much you can utilize your capacity. If you are just standing waiting for the next ride, that also you are, waiting means is kind of one waste we defined under MUDA. E-commerce logistic focus. So this industry now we need to find out how quickly we can deliver the products, what is the nature of the product, how we need to deliver the product, and return supply chain also equally important, right? eCart, which is the official partner with the Flipkart, providing all the hassle-free returns and seamless shopping experience. Today you place the order, by evening grocery items you will get, or evening you place the order, by morning you will get the grocery items. But yes, because they are working, they have initiated on this, but they are working how they can still generate that much orders, that so that they can be efficient always. So these are some of the challenges our modern day logistics are facing. Supply chain disruptions, whatever are happening, we will quickly go through these challenges. Supply chain, unforeseen global events, COVID-19. So then all of a sudden shutdown is there. How you will handle that? Russia-Ukraine war, how the other industries are affected. The crude oil supplies are coming from that. So then also obviously will raise the price of the petrol and diesel and other natural gases we are using, right? So how it will impact the supply chain efficiency? Obviously the cost will rise up when the fuel cost is rising up, right? So in that way, how our supply chain can be resilient if anything is happening in outside the environment of our supply chain or distribution network. So how resilient, how quickly we can find out some alternatives. If that our vendor is affected by this natural disaster of flood, so how other vendor can respond quickly and can supply the raw material, so that the smooth production can be ensured. Our 500 workers who are working on that production line should not sit idle just because our one of the vendor hit by your natural disaster, right? So that ecosystem integration software, we can handle these kind of disruptions, where we can find out when disruption can happen, right? Another thing is, another challenge is that trading partners. This is a report that they are saying that 80% of the companies, they are having trading partners who are failing to make their promises, right? 27% respondents are saying that 11 or more trading partners fail. And then these many are still looking to set up new business partnership. See, business partnership is not like something that overnight you are, firing your business partner and next day you are hiring. This is a long-term strategic decision, and it is the responsibility of the main manufacturer to take care of your all the raw material suppliers, to train them, to equip them with the latest technology, because if they are efficient, only then you can be efficient. Okay, so how we can develop more reliable trading partners? So we need to equip them, only then our logistic distribution network will be ensured properly. This is another very big problem with Indian logistics distribution, because we talked about around 60 to 65% we are going through road transportation, and that is the reason why we are adding 14% as logistics cost. And if you talk about the developed nation, it is somewhere 7 to 8% of the cost, right? So that means this much extra you are paying. How we can cut that logistic cost in the warehousing, in the distribution, in the transportation, and how we talked all those measures, how we can do that. So ecosystem integration will ensure you, right? So this you can see 32% said they will invest heavily in that supply chain integration technology, so that they can build that platform, right? So then sustainability targets, obviously now manufacturers are moving toward the sustainability, but if the sustainability measures are rapidly changing, so initially maybe sometimes government is also little bit fuzzy about taking the decision, making the policy. They are putting firstly maybe heavy taxes on using those kind of plastic packaging, and then they realize that suddenly that now we need to phase out this packaging completely. So then if things are changing so quickly, randomly, so then it is difficult for all the logistic players to cope up with those kind of challenges. So obviously sustainability, there are so many performance indicators for sustainability. If you can be efficient, so obviously if you are efficient, you can be cost efficient, you can reduce your cost as well. When you are reducing the cost, that means you are using less resources. When you are using less resources, that means you are adding to the sustainability targets, right. So, this is how you can be more sustainable. These performance measures, like I talked about, efficiency, how quickly you are fulfilling the order, cycle time, packaging cycle time, how quickly you are packaging, manufacturing cycle time, how quickly you are starting the manufacturing, ending the manufacturing, resource utilization rate, how many times you are 100% you are utilizing all your resources lying in the warehouse, all your distribution network resources, right. Cost effective, when you are utilizing that properly. So, operation cost, when you are transporting the product, first is your raw material cost, how you can cut down that cost. Second is your transportation cost, how you can minimize that using proper routing system. Then your manufacturing cost, then your warehousing cost, then your last mile delivery cost, right. So, then also if returns are coming, that is also cost to the company. Customer satisfaction, how you can provide on time services and that basket of services, hassle free returns, quick deliveries, right, and then the same quality customer demanded for, right. So, then more customer satisfaction will be there, and if customer is satisfied, you are doing cost effective deliveries, obviously you can reduce the carbon footprint, because now you are not indulged into the waste activities which is not generating any value for you, right. Flexibility and agility, so to the changing environment, how quickly you can change, how if demand is lesser, how quickly you can manage your resources, and if demand is high, how quickly you can change, adapt to the dynamic environment. So, innovation adoption, how quickly you are implementing the new technology, adoption rate, and whether you are able to recover that initial cost or not. That is also very important point. So, you cannot just go randomly for any technological upgradation which may not be able to ensure that minimum returns where you can recover the cost of implementing that technology. Then supply chain visibility, how you can track the order, that information, not only as a stakeholder you want that information, but your customer also demanding that information, when my product is shipped, when it is packed, how it is packed, and when it is reaching, it is out for delivery, right. So, these are some of the cases. You can see how they are doing digitalization their records and integrating all the stakeholders. DHL, this much investment they have made, and still they are doing this investment to just create a central nerve system for its operation, optimizing resource allocation, automating workflows, and dynamically adapting to the real time changes, right, in the business environment, whatever demands are coming from the customer. If you see Amazon, they are using predictive analytics, when, where, and which items are required, right, so that they can find out whether that item is available in the nearby hub or not. If it is available, so quickly they can meet that demand from the customer in a very short lead time, right. So, they are picking ensuring those orders which are near to that customer, right, so that efficient delivery can be ensured and last mile delivery can be ensured efficiently. If you talk about Swiggy is using hyper local delivery network, and they have utilized this concept. They are collaborating with the local restaurants and local delivery partners, so that on time delivery, fresh food hygiene can be ensured. Minimum time it is taking in the transportation, because from the local restaurant where is that restaurant, the hygiene of that restaurant. So, in that way you will feel more connected in that way. Flipkart, again partnering with the local vendors for efficient delivery, right. So, they are ensuring the faster delivery, increased coverage, and deeper penetration into remote areas as well, where they are selling the local items as well, and they are collaborating with the local vendors. So, this is how the wide coverage, if you talk about geographically also they are ensuring, and Flipkart in that way has enjoyed this parameter, and they are enjoying almost 60 to 65% share in Indian market. So, in conclusion, we can conclude here, these three things, digitalization, innovation, and sustainability, are the key parameters forcing us to go for your innovating your next age decades your distribution network. We should be more informed distribution network and agile. If something goes wrong in the external environment, how quickly we can adapt that, we can switch to the next alternative, and switching next alternative should not be with very high cost, right? It should be cost efficient and resilience should be provided. So only we can tap the disruptions in a better way when we know when those disruptions are going to happen, right? So that will only happen when the complete integration of all the stakeholders are there and you have that ecosystem where you can quickly share the information with the stakeholders. So that's all from the logistics. In the next session we'll start discussion your on your supply chain management. So these are some of the references, you can go for further reading. So thank you very much.